Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 24 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Not too long ago, Joe, I went with Robin, and we found a place. We found something on the internet. We'll start there. And it said Florida's only rapids. Because you think, well, where would there be rapids in Florida?
Well,
they're on the Swanee River, not too far from the state line, actually.
I was going to say it had to be way up there, right?
And in order to get there, you had to park and then walk through the woods. You had to hike. And so it was the destination was cool, but the hike along the way was really what I liked the most. Just getting
you
there.
Remember, was it a mile, half a mile?
It wasn't that far.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I can handle that.
Maybe 2 miles.
I said half a mile, a mile. You said not too far. It's 2 miles. That's too far.
That's not too far.
Okay.
Anyway, if you want to be inspired to take that walk or to take that bicycle ride, we got some great bicycle trails here. You don't got to drive in traffic. And also a bird watching. We gave away a bird call. We had some gadget one time that told you what the birds were. Dr. Bruce Beehler is on the phone. He's an ornithologist. He's a research associate in the Division of Birds at the Smithsonian National Museum, the Natural History in Washington. Of naturalist. I'm sorry, I was stumbling here. Can you tell I'm reading? He served as a scientist and conservationist for the Smithsonian Institution, Conservation International, the U.S. Department of State, and the Wildlife Conservation Society. In other words, he's going to tell you stuff you probably don't know.
He knows his stuff.
His book is called Natural Encounters, Biking, Hiking, and Birding Through the Seasons. Dr. Bruce Beehler, it's an honor to have you on our show. Good morning, sir.
Larry, Joe, it's an honor for me to be with you. I'm happy to be here this morning.
Just reading the information about the interview makes me want to go take a walk.
I'm always happy to take a walk. I took a walk this morning with my puppy dog, and I do that almost every morning. And you know, it's enriched by the fact that I can hear birds and see birds, and not only birds but wildflowers, all sorts of things happening in spring up here in the Washington, D.C. area. So, yeah, that's what the book talks about, just sort of getting joy from what's out there for free to take.
Absolutely. And does the book cover just the east coast of the country?
It covers from South Florida to northern Ohio, and then up to the Quebec border and up into Maine. So really it is an East Coast thing. Yeah.
Oh, that is pretty far. Okay.
So I wondered if he went through my home state of Connecticut.
Did you hike in Connecticut?
It includes Connecticut, absolutely.
All right.
Did you really features the Connecticut River, which is a great greenway that, of course, starts down in Long Island Sound, down at the bottom of Connecticut, goes all the way up to Quebec. So that's a glorious place that we talk about.
Did you include urban hikes or just rural areas?
Absolutely. Actually, a lot of what I include is the story of 35 years of biking to work. And I did that through a greenway along the C&O Canal, along the Potomac River in the D.C. area. And I did that year-round. And fantastic. Rain or snow, sleet or hail. And it really made a difference. There's so many things you see when you go out every single day.
I guess he wanted to be a postman.
Well, it could have been, that's right. Maybe I'm a frustrated postman.
So is the book set up so that we can know? Because the birding part of it is probably, like we all think we know about biking and hiking, and maybe we don't really. Maybe we need to learn some things about that. But birding is like a foreign language to me. I wouldn't even know how to begin birding.
I think that's the case for most people who are listening. You know, they see birds in the backyard. They may feed them, but that's about the extent of the experience. And it's not really very hard. And really, a good place to start is your backyard and is feeding birds. We normally do that in the wintertime. And of course, you down in Florida, where it's warm year-round. Still, I think wintertime is a good time to do that. And then, get a pair of binoculars. That's sort of the next step. You can use that to see the birds better in your backyard. And then you can, take the dog out for a walk, take the binoculars. and start looking around and seeing what you see. You'd be surprised what you see overhead. It might be a bald eagle, might be an osprey.
Wow.
Might be some big
How old were you?
woodpecker,
How old
whatever.
were you when you started doing this?
I was 8.
Good for you.
And that was 1958, so it takes us back a little bit.
Wow.
And I never looked back. I saw this red-bellied woodpecker, which is a bird that's very common down in Ocala. And, I looked up and saw this bird. It was like seeing the face of God. And it just sort of grabbed me. And I had this epiphany, and thank heavens I did, because it really saved my life. It really, made me who I am.
I want to know more about that, but I have to tell you just told me something about Ocala I never knew. The red-bellied woodpecker. Did you know that, Joe? It's common in Ocala.
Don't look at me. I don't know.
This is, yeah.
I have a hawk. I have 2 hawks in my yard and an eagle that stops by once in a while.
Okay, the hawk is almost certainly a red-shouldered hawk. They're very common in Florida, and they like to come to your backyard.
Oh, yeah.
And the eagle, of course, is a bald eagle. And
yes.
we have them here, and you have them there, luckily.
Yeah.
And the red-bellied woodpecker, very, very common southern bird. And, in fact, it used to be fairly uncommon in the north, but it's moved gradually further and further north. It now lives in New England. It used to only get up to around D.C. So more and more people have been able to see and love that bird. So if you put out suet, a suet cake, which you could buy at your local supermarket, believe it or not, put it in a little tiny suet cage and hang it up, and then the woodpeckers are going to come like crazy, and you're going to see all sorts of woodpeckers you never saw before. You might get 4 or 5, 6 species down there.
What is that big one called? Pileated or something?
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly. He's just showing off.
Oh, I said it right? Oh, my gosh. No, I saw
it. And that will come to the suet. That comes to our, I'm looking out the window at the suet feeder, and it comes, it's not very common. It comes about maybe once a month, and you look out and you see that big bird hanging on the suet cake, and that really makes your day.
Well, the snowbirds that are here, the human snowbirds, are in a way similar to the actual birds that are snowbirds, because we have robins here maybe for a day or a week at the most, and they come and go they're done already. I think it was a month ago or so we saw them.
Yeah, they're probably all gone from Florida, and they're back up, these parts.
Yeah.
Making their nests, raising offspring, doing their thing. There may be some robins that nest in far northern Florida. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not quite sure. I'd have to look that up.
So are you able to, can I tell you a quick story, and then I'll ask you my question. My quick story is I used to work at a nursing home or an assisted living facility, and I was the activities director, so I don't know anything about health, but I used to take them out and have fun. And one of the things they asked me to do was to take them out, but I was limited to 1 hour, so I would do it on a Saturday where I could have more time. We would go to a river, and there was a lady who was blind, and she could identify birds by their song, by their voice. Can you do that?
Absolutely.
Really?
And that's that's probably step 3 or 4 in terms of sort of getting into birds. And it basically doubles your experience and doubles what you record. So if you're out in the woods, you might see, you spend a half hour out in the woods, you might see 3 or 4 different species of birds, but you're going to hear maybe 5 or 10 more that you don't see. And, if you're looking for a particular bird, like a pileated woodpecker, and you want to see it, if you know its song or its call, you can listen for it, and, there it's over there. It's not that way. That way, and you can chase it down and have a good look at it. So it really is. It's a very important part of serious birding. Serious birders take it. They learn those bird songs if they can. It makes a huge difference.
In my yard, I have birdhouses, about 3 of them, and they are occupied every year. And matter of fact, I think they're just unoccupying them right now because I walk by, I don't remember that they're there until that little bird comes zipping by my head, flying out of that little sucker, and every year. But 2 years in a row right now, it has to be a small bird. I haven't seen it yet, but he decided, or she decided, or they decided to make my front porch light their home. And I take, at the end of this, when I see it's empty, I take all the filling out of it and everything, clean it all up, brush all the bird poop away from the front door. But next year, like I said, 2 years in a row, they're back again. And I'm trying to figure out how to, without hurting them, how to stop that cycle, build someplace else.
Yep. Well, let's start with the bird house. It's probably a house wren. It may not be. It may be something else. But the house wrens love those houses you put out the back. So everybody puts out those house wren houses, has a lot of fun because they sing beautifully. Mm-hmm. Now, the birds that put their nests on top of a light fixture, or what we get is they actually come in under our back porch, which is open.
That's exactly what it is. It's the front porch is open, yeah.
And they look for a little declivity or whatever, a little patch where they can sit their nest and have it out of the rain.
Yep.
Our birds are house finches, and it may be house finches that you have. It may be something else.
It's a small bird because the light hangs underneath and under my front entrance.
It could be an eastern phoebe. They love nesting under things, under a bridge or under an eave or something like that. Yeah. So the key is really early in spring. Maybe you can actually buy a little detractor. It's a little series of wires, pointy wires, and you just sit that on top. And just make it sort of unhappy for the bird, and the bird finds another.
Oh yeah, it's underneath.
No harm done.
Yeah.
The bird isn't harmed.
Right.
But they don't do that, and that's what I suggest. You could look online and see if you can get one of those.
Okay.
Wow, it sounds like therapy. Or you take a hike. Natural encounters. We have a bicycle trail up at near the University of Florida, and I think it's 15 miles long. And at the very beginning of it, it goes from Gainesville to Hawthorne for our locals. And Robin and I did it one time early in the morning, and there were owls everywhere. I never knew there were so many owls in one place. Yeah, it was so cool. And then there were deer too. So does the book include other wildlife, or is it just about the birds?
Everything I see. Now, my bias is birds, and that's what I know the best. So there are probably a smidgen more birds than other things. But I include, bats and snakes and salamanders and frogs. Everything you bump into, because who knows what you're going to fall in love with. Some people fall in love with birds. Believe it or not, other people fall in love with snakes or frogs or wildflowers. There's a lot out there to keep us amused and
that is kind
challenge us.
Therapeutic, it sounds. So I have a fun, hopefully, little bird song story. And I think
thought you were going to sing there for a minute.
Listen. When I leave my key in my car, it beeps, whoop, 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 makes that kind of a noise, right?
Right.
I one time got out of my car, closed the door, and then I heard in the tree, boop, 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 and I thought, wait a minute, that bird is mimicking my car sound. Have you ever heard of that before?
Absolutely, yeah. It might be a mockingbird, which likes to mimic other things. There are a bunch of different birds that, they hear those sounds, and it resonates with them for some reason. Something in their brain connects, and they often will repeat the sounds that they hear. So it might be a northern mockingbird, which are common down in Florida.
Do they teach it to their offspring? That's kind of a crazy question, but for example, let's say Abraham Lincoln taught his bird how to say something. Would that bird teach it to his children? And could we hear Abraham Lincoln today through the mouth of a bird?
I'm thinking not.
Thank you. I was hoping you were going to say that. Thank you so much.
They do. I think they do teach dialects. Certain phrases, bird song phrases, not words, that their offspring apparently do mix in with what they have.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there is some learning going on. Definitely.
So a southern bird of the same type of bird in Connecticut would sound different?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. South birds go yaw. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. You got it.
All right, I'm looking at the list, and you have places here in Florida that I've never even been to, so I really need to get out more often. Have you ever been to Captive Island, Joe?
No.
I haven't either.
You're going to name a bunch of things. I'm going to say no to all of them, probably.
Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge. Well, we did some.
Sanibel.
Is that where Sanibel is?
He's been to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been to all of them, right?
Oh yeah. So I feature those in the book, of course. We love that part of Southwest Florida, Captiva and Sanibel and Fort Myers and all around there. We love that, and when it's nasty up here, below zero, we like to head down there in January.
I wonder why. Yeah, right.
So
exactly.
That's the part of the subtitle that I wanted to ask you about. It says biking, hiking, and birding through the seasons. So obviously the seasons. I mean, if you're hiking in the winter up north, there's probably limited wildlife, I'm guessing, right?
Exactly. So what the book, what it does is it talks about my year-round biking and the joys of that, and then it talks about weekend trips nearby, And then it talks about longer trips, special, week-long trips where you go to Florida, or you go to Maine, or you go to Connecticut and go to some special place. So it gives you sort of those 3 levels of how to get away and get out into the green.
The book is on Amazon. Let me see. The book is on Amazon. And do you have a website?
I probably do.
YaleBooks.yale.edu.
Oh, there you go.
Yale's the publisher, Yale University Press, and they'll happily sell you a copy, as well as, of course, Amazon.
So can you...
And your local bookstore, we will have it. So, everybody needs to rush out and get this.
Yeah, now I'm going to ask you the obvious question, because we have a few moments more. You've been, like say, up and down the coastline. Everyone has their favorite spot, the spot that you would return to more than one time because you experienced something there. Tell me about that one spot that you experienced something that's your moment.
Probably that would be Cape May, New Jersey. So neither north nor south, right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the very bottom of New Jersey. And in October, it's just a fantastic place for bird migration. So you get hawks migrating through, eagles, falcons, songbirds, all kinds of birds are moving through, and they get funneled down because it's a point that points southward.
Mm-hmm.
It concentrates all the birds down at the point, and you get this fantastic mix of birds. You also get monarch butterflies migrating through, and they in large numbers. And then you get all sorts of fun people who love nature. They migrate there, just like me and my wife, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty nice mix. And great restaurants, nice places to stay. It's a pretty place, and it's just a nice place.
As far as area, how large of an area? Is it a small town? Or
It's a small town, and you could do it all by bike, or just toddle around with your car. And you can walk a lot. There are a lot of trails. But every time you look up, the air is filled with birds at that time of year in October. It's just quite something
October.
special.
So cool.
It's a phenomenon.
Got to get out more. Have you ever been to the rapids at the Swanee River?
I have been to the Okefenokee, and I've paddled across the Okefenokee, which is, of course, the headwaters of the Swanee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about... I haven't been to the rapids. I suspect they're not Class 5.
No.
You know what it looks like? This is just me because I don't know much about this stuff, but it looks like Coca-Cola. It's so dark. The water...
Yeah, well, that's right. Because it's coming in a big swamp.
Yeah,
You've got all those tannins from the cypress and the oaks and things like that dump into that water, the peat. And it's like black water. That's what they call it. Yeah, it's pretty special.
There's a place up in North Carolina, Nantahala Rapids. Nantahala.
I can't say it. Right. National Forest. Yeah.
Yes. And of course, wildlife up there is diverse, just like you're saying, but they have larger specimen of animals per se.
Oh, they got black bears, They got coyotes. They got red wolves. Yeah, they got all sorts of stuff there.
And deer galore.
Now, Joe is also from North Carolina. What is in Kitty Hawk? I see Kitty Hawk on the list. What's actually...
That's Lower North Carolina.
All I know about that is the Wright brothers.
Right. Well, that's fun. It's to go up on that little hill, that little knoll, where they push that first plane off the hill. It's a pretty nice place. Eastern North Carolina is super for nature. Actually, all of North Carolina is super for nature, but the East is fun in the spring because it gets there early. And, you've got lots of piney woods, and you got some swamps, and you got some big bays, great fishing, good bird watching, beach walking. You get out onto the Outer Banks, out to Nag's Head and south to Cape Hatteras. That is pretty country.
So I have a question for you that this could be political, but I don't want it to be. I'm really just curious, scientific speaking. Do you see the effects of the global climate change we keep hearing about? I mean, can you actually say, oh my gosh, the water never used to be at this level or anything at all?
Yes.
And what do you see?
That was a quick answer.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just curious. Well, the reason I'm asking, let me tell you the reason I'm asking.
It's so political. It's almost like bird watching. The people that don't want to see birds don't see them.
Oh, I'm not trying to be political, though. I promise you, I really am not trying to be. But there was a guy, we had an author on, and he was talking about an island in Chesapeake Bay that was sinking.
Sure.
Or being
Absolutely.
covered by water. I said,
Smith
well,
Island. Yeah, there's several islands in southern Chesapeake Bay.
Well, that's what
that
I
are
said.
disappearing as we speak.
I said,
Now, it's
wouldn't they all?
complicated.
I said, wouldn't they
It's
all be
complicated.
disappearing?
It's very complicated because in some cases the land is physically sinking, which is different than the water rising. But you get that combination of the water rising. And often what you first see is not an overall rise, but you see a surge. You know, your high tide is higher, your low tide is lower. You see these sort of differences. So you need to build a seawall to protect, your shore. And you're going to see that a lot in.
Well, you've been doing it a long time. We're 100 feet above sea level right here in Ocala.
So you're good. You guys are good.
Yeah. All right.
Worry.
I have a copy of the book. I'd like to give it away. No, that's a lie. I don't really want to give it away. I want to keep it, but I will give it away. If you would like to have the one that was sent to me, call right now 622-9622. I'll pick one caller at random and give it away. 622-WOCA. I did find it on Amazon. Joe gave you the Yale website. I guess you can get it there.
.yale.edu.
Oh, yalebooks.yale.edu. Okay. Do you have a different? Oh, you said you didn't know if you had a website, right?
Yeah, I have a website, but it doesn't really talk much about the book.
Oh, okay.
Yet I haven't uploaded it.
Okay,
So,
let me give this.
they can find me online if they Google my name. I will pop up in a lot of different places.
Okay, doctor. Let me get technical and then we'll spell your name. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Robert Hayden.
Okay, Robert. Do you know where we are?
No, he knows where we are.
Oh, you know. Okay. All right, Robert. You got it. It'll be waiting for you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. It's amazing how many people are interested in this topic. Whenever you talk about it, we live in a beautiful area right here. This part of Florida is so pretty. And there's so many, some of the old theme parks like Silver Springs and Rainbow Springs are now state parks. And they're really nice to just walk through.
Yeah. And you can go down there and go down there and swim with the manatees or something like that, or at least see them down in that clear water.
Yeah, I think there's a law you can't touch them or something, right?
One hand behind your back, the other one you can touch it.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but one hand behind your back, so you don't discoordinate them or whatever have it. Yeah, they're not the smartest mammal in the water.
Well, they come to us, often. You see them in every little harbor in Captiva. They come right into the harbor and they're looking for fresh water.
Yeah.
And they're very confiding and adorable.
Oh yeah,
they do look like peaceful animals, don't they?
Very peaceful.
Dr. Bruce M. Beehler spells his last name B-E-E-H-L-E-R. B-E-E-H-L-E-R if you're going to look him up. Doctor, thank you for being on the show with us. That was a very relaxing conversation.
Larry, Joe, great pleasure.
it was cool. It was cool. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Folks, your selection of crepe myrtles at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens just got bigger and better. Now, instead of a limited selection of sizes and colors, you get your choice of up to a dozen colors, even the exotics like dark red and purple. What's more, they're all on BOGO. Buy one, get one free with prices starting as low as $29.99 for the big number 4 size crepe myrtles. So don't wait. Come check out these beauties today at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. Other deals this week? A huge new shipment of citrus trees, including those popular dwarf citrus. They're regularly $139.99, but this week they're $99.99 at Bob Wine's. Regular size citrus are just $59.99. Also, get a buy one, get one half price on all blooming hanging baskets this week at Bob Wine's. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, daily till 4, Saturdays till 3, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun-damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair